Hey friends, welcome back to the Polish Potager. We're going to check in on our seeds, get beautiful sunshine outside, and check on our ranunculus corms. But first, let me show you what we did last night. Hey, welcome to the Polish Potager. It is cold here. This is what we're doing tonight. And a half? Yep. It's pretty out. Yeah. This is what we do on snow nights, right? No school tomorrow. How many inches do you think we're going to get?
7 to 9.
7 to 9. We'll find out. This is the awesome part about living in Michigan. Yes, it's extremely cold. Yes, we're gonna be buried in a foot of snow. But we're also taking a walk in the dark, in the middle of the snow, letting our kids sled. Eva! Come on, Eva, I want to see Eva go. Nice!
Oh, Ava got some speed going.
All right, go.
Oh, Mason's going on the steep side.
Whoa! Nice, Mace.
That was the steep side too, huh, Mason? You got going a little faster.
You can make it.
This is...
The top of a hill. That's my husband and my youngest 2 kids and the garden puppies. And we are snowboarding. Get down! The dog's leashes are tiny. Hey, I said go get Dad. Go get Dad. Where's Dad? Go get Dad. Bella, get Dad. Get Dad. Go get him. Get Dad. Go get him. Go get Dad. They're like, that's a big hill, Mom. We don't really want to go back up that hill. How about we just stay down here with you? Get Dad. Get Dad. Get Dad.
What are you doing?
Videoing. Okay, so the ranunculus corms, they're doing something. We'll look at them in a minute. First, let's look at the trays. Tray number 1, our onions, looking really good. These seed heads in the top, you can come in and just kind of pop those off. They're not doing a whole bunch of damage on these because these have just the one stem coming up. They would do a lot more damage if they were on something like this. It's got the 2 leaves because that seed head would pinch them together. So they're more important taking them off of there. Off of these, not so much. They just pop right off. Here are those tornado red ivy geraniums. They look good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. Fantastic. Those look great. So this level of water is okay. You can see the soil's not dried out on top. This one's looking a little bit dry. I might give them a little bit of water, but mainly I'm just going to make sure that they don't dry out on top. These ones look good. Here's tree number 2. This is the second thing we planted. We got the celery. None of the celery are up yet, but the lavender has all germinated really well. Got really pretty little lavenders. Eucalyptus, I've got a couple little ones. There's a couple more. And you can see the rosemary is actually doing really well. I've got several rosemary babies started. Next to it, this is the stuff I planted a little bit later. So these are the snapdragons, the stevia, the marjoram, and none of those are up. Oh my God, look at, there's a little bit of stevia right there. Isn't that cute? But these dandy dahlias are starting to come up. They're a little bit bigger. They're popping up just fine. So not bad. This tray again, a little bit dry on top. I'll probably take that water spray bottle and just mist the top. And then I will put some water into the bottom of this tray and let it bottom water through there. Tray number 3, this is an example of a dry tray. So let's look at 2 side by side. This one, you can see it's got a little bit of moisture. That one's doing okay. This one, too dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these dried. These are all the snapdragons. The Orange Wonder, Bronze Dragon, Bazaar Mix, Rembrandt, and Apple Blossom. And I think you can see in there, see all those little greens? These are all the little snapdragons starting to come up. So I'm actually really happy. These are the ones that take light. They're a little bit difficult to get going just because you got to keep those tops moist and they dry out so easily. So I'm going to go ahead and take my spritzer bottle and just this guy. And I'm just going to put some more water in it. I'm just going to mist the tops of all these. Tray number 4 are my peppers and those parsley's, gumfrey nut, and thyme I planted. And these are not doing anything at all, which is just normal. I just planted them. You can see they're staying kind of pretty good moist, a little bit of dry out back here. I'm going to go ahead and just water those in the bottom and make sure that they stay moist and put these do not need light to germinate. So they're just kind of off on the side for right now, but they do need to stay warm. All right, let's talk about these ranunculus now. So 4 trays planted. Here's tray 5. It's growing mold. Because I kept it in that bag, remember I had this guy over the top. I did leave it vented. That apparently was not enough. See, this is why ranunculus and I are not great friends, or dahlia. Any kind of bulb where I got to do special attention, I'm not great at. But I checked on them, found that there's starting some mold growing on them. However, they're sprouting too. See how baby sprouts? So I can go through and take these out of here, and I'm going to pot them up. That mold's not going to do nothing to my plant. It's just going to be gross to deal with, which we'll make do. What I did is I took a tray. I got these lined cookie sheets. They've got the rim on them. And I took my containers and I filled them 1/3 to a halfway full of soil. And then I'm going to pop these guys out and put them in there, cover them up pretty full, water them in, and go from there. Yeah, let's go. So I'm just using a little pencil. You can see this one is out. He doesn't have any roots right now. So I'm just going to set him to the side. I'm going to pop out one of these ones that's growing. Be real careful picking it up. I don't want to piss it off, but you can see all those little roots coming out of it. And I'm just going to pop him into a cup. And then I'm going to cover that up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of these. So I just carefully went through and took all of the corms that I saw have any root growth or any kind of growth at all, and I put them in their own little 2x2 cup. I sorted through all of the other soil, just checking if it looked like it had any bit of mold on it, or if it had a funny texture, or it had any of that squishy liquid coming out of it. I just left it and decided to put it in its own container later. Let me show you kind of what happened. The ones that had a good deal of mold around them, I don't know if you can kind of see, they're very breakable, and they've got this like gooey substance in them, and I'm not 100% sure if they're going to grow or not, and I don't want to put them with my other ones in case they infect them. So what I'm going to do is take all the little pieces that have any kind of little mold on them. I'm going to put them in their own container, this container. I'm going to add a little bit more soil, pack them on down, and let them dry out and see if they get better and they start to sprout and that mold goes away. If not, I'll have to throw that whole container away. I'll keep this separate from everything else because I don't want it to get on my good ones. But I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 30 that came up and that look lovely. So I'm going to cover those guys up, with soil, water them in a little bit, and get them over in the window. All right, so here's what I did. I went ahead and covered these with soil. I did not water these in. The more I thought about it, the more I just thought if there has been mold growing in here because it's too moist of an environment, I think maybe it's better to let them dry on out. I'm not gonna let them go bone dry, but I'm gonna leave all the soil in here dry for at least today and maybe tomorrow. I've got them over here on a table by this outside window. This is the coldest spot. This is my emergency exit should I get in the basement. And here's the ones that had the mold on them a little bit much that I didn't want to mix in. So I've got them separated, both of them by the cold window. They'll get enough light. When I turn all the lights off in this room, they'll just get light from that window, and it'll keep them away from the hot temperatures because ranunculus do not like the warmth. As soon as I can possibly get these outside, when the hard frosts are past, they go outside. They're one of the first things to go outside. So I don't want them to get used to being warm. So they're not going to go over with the other trays with my lights and my heat. They're going to stay over here, and we'll see how they do. Okay, if you're keeping track, that's 5 trays. We've got 3 of the Bootstrap Farmer trays, my tray with onions and geranium, and then now over here, tray number 5 is those ranunculus that have pre-sprouted their roots. A couple of them even have started their stem. We're gonna keep them in the cold over in this part of the room. Over here, I've got the heat and the lights, and I've got a heater if I need to warm things up a little bit, which I might for those peppers. Peppers need some heat to germinate, but we're gonna let them sit right now and see how they do. So that's where we're at. That's pretty good for February with all that snow out there. I'll take it. All right, I'll see you guys soon.